We believe that there are 6 main contributors to bad group decision making. Based on Chapter 9 of In Mixed Company, the 6 main contributors are
Drifting. Information overload.
Information overload!
confirmation bias.
Group polarization.
False dichotomy. No, let's just do something. Right there.
What are you doing?
No way. Everyone has
Okay, it almost worked. Welcome to the Turribles Q&A panel. Today we're going to be talking about the many different kinds of terrible group decision making.
Alrighty, let's get started. I'm Addie, and I'm going to be talking about information overload. Have you ever just gotten so confused by all of the information coming in at you from your phone, from your laptop, from the person right next to you? That's information overload. According to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, information overload is the state that occurs when the amount of information exceeds an individual's processing capacity. It's important to note that this processing capacity is different for each person. So when you're collaborating in a group, you have to understand what your fellow group members' capacity is, so you're not exceeding that during meeting times.
How can you avoid information overload?
You can avoid information overload by doing things like I mentioned, not going over one member's capacity every single time, because that's just going to cause stress for everyone. You can do things like approaching the bigger, more unpleasant tasks first so that you can get them out of the way without being overwhelmed about them during the process of other things. You can filter the information that's coming in. For a lot of groups where information overload is an issue, it's because they have very open boundaries and they're allowing a lot of channels of information. So restricting that flow by, say, putting your phones in the other room while you're talking with each other, or doing something like just choosing one laptop that we're going to do our research on. Those are all great ways to restrict the flow of information so that you're having actual productive conversations. And next up,
So next, information overload is when, there's not enough, there's too little information. So either information may not exist or it's not being provided. This creates a barrier within the group's input and output, which kills the decision making of the actual group. Information overload can actually be between peers or just refer to a failure to communicate important information.
What's a good example of that? What's a
Good example?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose a good example would be maybe a person within the group feels scared. Like maybe a person thinks, oh, my idea is not good enough. You know, they're gonna say it's a terrible idea. I don't want to share this idea because they're gonna be scared. I'm scared that it's not gonna be good enough, so they don't give it. But maybe it turns out that information was actually really important to the group, but because they felt scared, they didn't do it.
How do you avoid feeling scared, or how do you avoid that?
Well, a good way to do that is to make sure that everyone within the group knows that share your ideas. All ideas are welcome. There are no bad ideas. Make sure that your opinion is expressed, because make sure everyone knows your ideas are welcome. Just loosen the boundaries of the group.
Okay, so I'm Carlos, and I'll be talking about group polarization. So group polarization is basically the tendency for a group discussion to lead to a very extreme decision, whether that is very risky or very cautious.
Can you give me an example
Yes.
of this topic, please?
Okay. So one example that the author of the book uses is the running of the bulls, which basically illustrates that people are more likely to make an extreme decision as a group than they are to individually. For example, the running of the bulls, like one individually would not want to run with bulls, but as they see other people running bulls, taking that huge risk, they tend to join in.
Wow. How would you avoid that, sir?
One way we can avoid this is by using the standard agenda, which is a reflective thinking model, which is pretty much slowing down the decision-making process to make sure that you're taking into account multiple different views or solutions. So you want to first define the problem, you want to analyze it, and then you want to brainstorm what a good solution would look like, and then think of various different solutions. Could be one idea per member of the group, and then you want to, as a group, decide on one solution and implement that into the problem.
I guess, yes.
And I'm Garrett. I'm going to be talking about groupthink. So groupthink can be broadly defined as when individuals within a group sacrifice their own critical thinking to prioritize having either a united front or having a unanimous group decision. And this can lead to groups coming up with much worse solutions than they would normally because critical thinking is suspended.
And what would you say this looks like in some example contexts?
Yeah, so Mitch Abrams actually presents an example of this where he says you might have a bunch of guys who have individually great moral compasses and moral codes, but they're put together inside a culture that supports the exploitation of women, and if there's alcohol involved, it could lead to some very poor decisions.
So how do we avoid this when we're looking at a small group like this one?
Yeah, so the biggest danger with groupthink is that the group members don't realize it. It's very unconscious. So the first thing you need to do is educate yourself, learn what it looks like, learn to recognize that feeling that you have that, oh, I shouldn't say anything because I just want us to be done with this project, or everyone else has a better idea than me. You need to speak up because it only can take one person to break the cycle of groupthink. You only need one person to speak up to engage critical thinking of other people.
I'm Hallie, and I'm talking about confirmation bias, which is the tendency of people or groups to look for information that agrees with their beliefs and their attitudes, and to avoid or outright ignore information that goes against what they believe or the opinions they hold.
So what does that look like in real life?
In real life, often you'll find it in the medical field where pathologists or those who are like give you a diagnosis, they tend to alter the information that they see and the data in front of them in order to align with what they thought was in the diagnosis rather than what they actually see.
Is there any methods we can use to avoid that?
Yeah, in group settings, it's very common to find, and in order to avoid it, you can purposefully look for information that disagrees and evidence that disagrees with what the group says, and be very proactive in presenting the data clearly and kindly to your group, but being very strong in standing your ground in your opinion and even playing devil's advocate.
Wow. My name is Maddie, and I will be talking about false dichotomy. False dichotomy is basically a logical fallacy that presents only two options, as if there are only just two options two possibilities when in reality there's other alternatives.
Now, what's one example or context in which we can see false dichotomy?
I would say basically like the either you're against me, you're with me or against me example, you know. Just basically disagreeing or agreeing only on your terms, on your own terms. And I guess one example would be like a political how do you say it? Yeah, it's right there. You know, having two different mindsets of yeah.
And then what's one way we could avoid this in group setting?
Try to think of other choices, you know, just don't think of two, just like don't, how would I, okay, like basically instead of just thinking about two alternatives, try think of other choices or opinions, consider multiple options, you know, and recognize and questioning the either or premise. Yeah.
Thank you.
In our introduction video, we show very exaggerated, kind of caricatures of what these situations look like. But in reality, it can be a lot more hidden and a lot more difficult to parse out. So when you're in a small group setting, you need to have a lot of self-awareness and open communication so you can find the problems, identify them, and then get rid of them. And these are some strategies that we hope will be helpful with that.
And cut. Lean forward.
Go whenever you're comfortable.
Lean in.
Okay.
And look on the camera, please.
Open your back. Okay.
And shh. And action.
We've.
Okay, why
It's
you guys
okay, it's
looking
okay,
like
it's okay.
it's a okay? I like how we all look at it.
I like it. Okay. Okay. Are you gonna do the big cut?
And action.
We believe that there are 6 main contributors to group decision making. Based on
What?
Wow! I stuttered. That's my bad.
She knows.
The threshold is high.
She knows.
It's not that serious.
And action.
We believe that there are 6 main contributors to bad group decision making. Based on Chapter 9 of In Mixed Company, the 6 main contributors.
It's okay, you're doing amazing.
That was good. That was
That
good.
was so good.
Everybody look serious to the camera.
You gotta lean in. I think you're out of spot.
And action. Do not smile.
No
It's
Wincy.
so long, but
Because I was waiting.
Okay, no
for
laughing.
Guys, we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We're
Out of
free.
here.
All done. No problem.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
You gotta move.
I love you guys, but that took too long.
I think it didn't take long enough.
I like
Aww.
how dedicated you are to the team, Garrett. That's admirable.
Okay, you were here for like.
Table that too?
Yeah, we need to move all of this.
Welcome to the Turribles Q&A session. Today we're talking about bad types of group decision making and communication. And I
Oh!
thank you.
She asked for it.
Okay.